I love episodes on the 5s because that means Q&A. And you great listeners who we love, who are growing by the 1s and 2s every episode.
Growing with us.
Yeah, you've given us gold once again in the form of voice messages, just audio goodness. And I got even a few DMs, but really we're pushing the voice message. So JR has set everything up, and I look forward to these episodes more than any.
Q&A are really fun. And, you know, being a broadcaster, being a podcaster, coming up with your topic and, you know, telling interesting stories and whatever. It can be challenging. But as a pro, you take on that challenge and hopefully you deliver some entertaining content. Now, with the whole Q&A, it kind of takes all the prep work out of it. You know, it's like I haven't really previewed these. Of course, I had to go through and cut them up and get them prepared for us, but I did my best not to listen to them so we can react to them blind. But questions is the name of the game. And during my radio broadcast this week here in Denver, I used you as a subject, and I kind of threw you under the bus, and I didn't tell you about it.
Okay, well, yeah, what did you... I mean, look, I'm always here to help even when I'm not here to help. So what did you use me for?
Even when you're not trying to help, you're helping. So I often try to come up with different topics that can kind of strike a nerve with people. And because you want to get the phones going, you want to get people talking, right? That's the name of the game. I have different co-stars on my show, and they're the callers, you know? So I came up with this scenario where you met some girl from Tinder and showed up for showed up for the date, but because she was an inch taller than you, she canceled the date.
What? How tall does this girl have to be?
Well, the point that I was trying to make is there are so many different standards now and so many different like boxes that I feel like a man has to check to even try to get just a first date. So I kind of use this as as an extreme. Louder for the people on the back. I kind of use this to, like, you know, open up that door to discuss it. And apparently my listeners here in Denver, it definitely struck a nerve, and I got some pretty good calls about it. Some people they feel really bad for you. And some people,
I'm glad I have people on my side. They don't even know me, and they're taking my side.
You're getting sympathy. All
right, I'll take it.
On my show, and the reason I didn't have a problem, you know, kind of, you know, throwing some, you know, sweet and sour sauce on this and kind of making it bigger than it is because this kind of thing happens all the time. If it's not you, it's me, it's some other guy, some other schmuck, you know? So yeah, there's all these different boxes that men have to check. And I wanted to kind of dive into that. And speaking to a predominantly female audience, I got some interesting takes.
Okay.
And I pulled 2 of those calls to play for you and our audience here today.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I'm going to keep out their names and towns to protect those involved.
Okay, fair.
But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to play you this first call here. And yeah, this woman went off. You ready?
I'm ready.
Yes, I think that your buddy Dave should not be down on himself. First of all, I got 2 things to say. At my age, I've dated quite a bit, but first of all, he dodged a bullet. If she's that insecure in her own height that she can't date a guy that's shorter than her, more of a red flag and a reflection on her personality. And second, you can't be, if a date doesn't work out, you can't be down on yourself at all because there's a reason it didn't work out. It wasn't meant to be. If it's meant to be, it's going to work out. It's going to be smooth and it's going to happen naturally.
I'm going to play this for my buddy. He's going to be so happy about it.
Yeah, tell him not to be down on himself. The right girl's going to come along and she's going to love him exactly the way he is.
Oh, that's so kind of her.
Right? Dude, Are you kidding? Like, you know, this topic struck a nerve, and this person, like, doesn't know you from Adam, you know, and they're calling in to defend you and tell you actually dodged a bullet. Because think about that. Like, if a woman is like, well, okay, here's the thing that I've been seeing a lot online.
All right.
Right? You got to be over 6 foot.
Okay.
You got to make over 6 figures.
I did. Not right now, but I have.
And your willy has got to be over 6 inches.
No
They're
comment.
calling it the 666 rule, and I'm not accepting that. I'm not accepting that hatred. Don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
I mean, look, I feel like Isaiah Thomas. I met the requirements. I just wasn't selected.
Oh my god!
I felt like I had the credentials, you know. And look at that list. I checked the boxes. Well, I'll just put it that way. Okay, I'm not gonna explicitly say, but I do check the boxes. That girl would have had to be 6'3". Okay, that's tall. I've never dated somebody over 6 foot.
Like a spiker for the Black Bears, you know?
Yeah, like volleyball, like team captain, or college basketball player, or pro basketball player. Dude, it's tough out here as a single man.
It is,
it's
man.
Tough.
It's brutal out there.
I love me some me. I like my own time and everything, but I'm looking for that one to, be like, okay, you caught my attention. How many more boxes? Just tell me what boxes to check. Are those really the boxes? There's got to be more.
I think that's the argument, that there are just way too many requirements, and I see this topic online all the time, and it's like some of these requirements are just outlandish. It's like if a woman is gonna, and people should have standards. Of course, you should always feel great about yourself. I encourage that. But to say you can't be with me, you can't have me unless this, and those, it's just, well, you're never going to find anybody because the standards are unrealistic. Not that you shouldn't have standards for yourself and what you want, but it's like there becomes a point where it's like, okay, this is either unobtainable or this is just unrealistic. You know what I mean?
It seems that way a lot. And sometimes you don't even get a chance to know someone. And I will say, in my seasoned age of 36, charisma and personality do a lot for me now. A lot more than it did in my 20s. So look, of course, I'm still looking for a certain body type and attraction in the face. Like, that's the first filter. Once I get past that filter, we got to have a conversation. You got to have substance there. Otherwise, I'm out.
Right. It's like, what are your values? What are your goals? And I think, an attractive thing in a woman or even in a person in general isn't so much where they might be right now. It's what their aspirations are and where they want to go, because you want to be with a person like that. That's just like a go-getter.
They got drive. Yeah. They got to have drive, got to have their own thing going on. You can't just ride the coattails of my success forever. Now, do it for a while. Don't get me wrong. I'm not hating on that, but can't do it forever. Long term, everybody needs to have their own life. But yeah, as far as dating goes, I met the requirements. I just, I wasn't selected.
Yeah. So I'm going to do one more for you.
All right,
I'm calling about my husband, who's 5'5", and I'm 5'8.5".
And you don't mind at all?
No, absolutely not. This is ridiculous. That's why these females are still single.
Oh, girl, you're not kidding. There's so many requirements.
It's so ridiculous. He is still an amazing person, amazing cook, amazing in bed, an amazing person. This is ridiculous. These females.
She said it all, dude. She gave off the whole list, and that's why these women out here are still single. And yeah, hearing that from the female perspective, it's like, gosh, she's right.
I mean, she was cutting a promo right there. I fully agree.
You don't know hard times, daddy. She want to do a hard times promo.
Yeah,
so you put hard times on this family, Ric Flair.
You gonna put hard times on my dating life. That's what's hard times. But look, I think it's a blessing. I love these calls you got. I love that you use me for your own views, listens, whatever. If you need clicks, come to me. I'll help you with the clicks anytime. You can use my good name. Street cred is still good out there.
Right.
I think when it comes to dating, though, it's a blessing because I'm back to rebuilding on my career, and I don't need it to be in a perfect place for me to start pursuing women, but I need to see it climbing and progressing. Because look, you and me have both have game when we had no money. We could still get a phone number. So
That's
I
the
know
craziest thing.
I can do it now with a little bit of money.
Right. It's like it's harder now that I'm even more accomplished, especially comparatively to back then when I'm literally working for free, like on the radio. The only money I'm making is DJing bars. Like, it's crazy how even in just, that in this past decade, how it's kind of gotten to a point where it's like, nope, you got to check this box. You got to check this box. You got to check this box. And it's like, why?
I can't keep track of all the boxes. Like,
No.
I'm done taking my standardized tests. I finished high school and college. I'm not doing these games and tests. Then I'm just straightforward.
And that's the word, games. And it's just, it's silly, man. But, to each their own, whatever. Let's dive into our questions here.
Let's go.
This first one, I love these episodes. So this one comes from Nikki, all the way in Ireland, fella.
Hey guys, it's Nikki here in Ireland. Love the podcast, by the way. I would love to know that if you could travel back in time to one moment in your life and experience it all over again, what moment would you pick and why? Cheers, guys. Love you. Bye.
Coming in hot first question, dude. That's a tough one.
Wow. That is really tough. If you could go back in time to a moment and relive it.
Yeah, one specific moment.
One moment. There's so many good moments I've experienced.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the problems with creatives like us is we never really stop and smell the roses. So I've never really even given this any thought. I don't know about you.
Well, the moment I wouldn't go back to is the first time I had sex, because I had no idea what I was doing. I was like, was that good? I don't know. Luckily, it was both our first time, so it was like, all right, that's fine. So I wouldn't go back to there. Got it out of the way. But I think probably I would go back in time to the first time I walked up the ramp at Fenway Park and saw the grass.
Wow.
Because I try to relive it every time I go back and watch a Red Sox game. Because as a kid, it's magic. You're like, there's a big field of green in the middle of this huge city. I can't believe it. And then the smells and the sounds of the game, and the crack of the bat, and, peanuts and beer sales. I mean, it's, the first time I would go back. Because as a kid, you don't really take it in. But I guess I had that one vivid time that just replays in my head. So I would do that.
Yeah, gosh, it's such a tough one, but without thinking about it too much, I'd say I'd probably want to experience my first WrestleMania again live. I just think that would be so cool because I remember, dude, being in like 6th grade and this just coincidentally was also in Boston. So, yeah, at the Garden Bub, and just how great that building is and what an exciting time, especially in the wrestling industry and being that young and just overstimulated by everything, because everything it's still super real to you, especially at that age where it's just
real Santa Claus,
man. Yeah. So I would probably want to do that, experience my first ever WWE WrestleMania all over again. So excellent question.
Yeah.
Nikki in Ireland. Let's go. Number 2 here. This is from our buddy Nick out in Germany. Bro.
The cameraman.
We're not just statewide. We're not just nationwide. We're Mr. Worldwide, Mr. 305, Mr. I look better in a suit than you do.
Dale.
What's up, bro? Yeah, so I guess my question is this. What can you tell me about them first mixes that you used to make, that you used to show me when you used to live over there on Central Street in Westbrook, that you used to make on the HP computer with a Acoustica MP3 editor? I used to remember thinking like it was so cool that you could make mixes that sounded like they came off of the radio right from that computer at the house. And what can you tell me? What do you remember about the first songs that we made on that same computer? What really started it all?
Leave it to Nick to bring us right down. Nostalgia Boulevard, bro. So we had this family computer. It was like the best one we had. It was after we had the Gateway. If you remember the commercials for the Gateway computers, they were junk, but everybody had one because they were kind of affordable.
They had the cows in the commercial.
Yep. Yeah, so it's like the middle class and rich people were, dude, you're getting Dell. And for us, it's like, we're going to get a gateway from Rent-A-Center, you know?
Gateway to hell. What?
Yeah. But dude, so that computer had a little cheap microphone built right into the monitor.
Yeah.
And, you know, me and Nick recorded some of our first ever songs on there. And within Acoustica MP3 audio editor, which was a free, like, software. And every time you opened it, it would start with these claps. Acoustica! And you would have to go in and delete them so you could start your own session. But yeah, we recorded the Team Nasty anthem on that computer.
That was
to
some
the
JNL days.
JNL. And that was to the Team Nasty theme song. That was to I think it was the next episode, Dr. Dre beat, something like that. And I'm not going to go into the lyrics for you, but yeah, we even recorded a song about the Westbrook football team. They were not deserved of a song.
The Blazes.
They were that bad, the Blazes. But yeah, we made one, and we put all the different, you know, athletes and players and coaches, and that was to the gosh, what was that Hurricane theme song? We ballin', boy. We ballin', boy.
What you know about them
one?
Miami boys? Yeah, just
Yeah,
called
so we did
Ballin'
that about
Boys.
we did that about the Blazes. I don't even remember the group
Trick
that did
Daddy,
it.
I think.
Yeah. So even before getting into that, I would record my own pretend radio shows on that computer. I would find somewhere on LimeWire or Kazaa an interview with like 50 Cent, like a radio interview, and I would cut the jock out and put myself in there. And what Nick said is I would make it sound like I was literally in there with him, kind of like the Weird Al thing where he's interviewing people that aren't actually there. It's just clips.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, you know, it's 93.1 Jazzy Radio. Hey, I'm JR here kicking it with 50 Cent. And then all of a sudden, 50, you can't have pistols in the studio. And he'd be like, yeah, it's G-Unit. And yeah, I would make my own pretend shows and interviews. And I mean, I was just always fascinated with audio. Even at that young age, you know.
This is where it all came from, everybody. This is why he's doing his job today.
It's kind of crazy to even think about being a teenager, not really knowing what you're doing, but kind of knowing what you want to be. You don't really know how you're going to get there yet, or if that opportunity is going to actually ever present itself, but you know what you want to do.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
I always say that us as people, as humans, we're in the what business, the what our goals are, but I like to think that God is in the how business. How you're going to get there is not up to you, but what the actions you can put in and what you want to do, that is up to you.
Yeah, I mean, we could even take this question one step further. And Dave, tell me what you remember most about our very early DNR recordings. I'm talking like from your very first beat takeover in 2007.
One of the hotter summers in Portland. It always seems hot. Every summer seems like the hottest summer. And we were up in the bedroom, which is just down the hall from where I'm recording right now. Ryan and I painted it blue, and I was just sitting there like, hey, I have this beat. And I guess you're rapping now, so do you want to look at it? I was a little intimidated because I had never done any like music production with anyone else. And you were like, yeah, cool, I'll do something to it. I was like, really? No way. I'm like, this is like the first beat I ever made.
He's going to rap on my beat? What?
I did 12 bars and Ryan did 4. So we had, our 16s. I think you did 2 verses and then we had the hook. That was the first time I realized, like all I need is my laptop, and we had an interface. I think I had like a Pro Tools interface. And
like an M audio joint.
Yep, it had like 2 inputs for mics. And once it became real, I knew that I was going to do something in video and audio, something in media. I was always doing something in media. That's, I think, why you and me continued to be friends, because we were always like, hey, what's that mic? Oh, what's that camera? Like, I know you're shooting vlogs. I remember I was shooting vlogs before vlogs were vlogs, before I even knew what it was. Just turn the camera around, be like, I'm in the airport, whatever, da-da-da.
Yeah.
That's when I went to the Fairfield show for DNR, when we had our first real show booked at a school. And
that's a podcast in itself, and we got to try to get those
made
involved.
Some money. Yeah. We got to get those people on for sure. That's going to be some cat herding, some corralling.
Yeah.
But yo, Acoustica is the OG. I remember using Acoustica as well. I think I still have it on a computer somewhere.
Yeah, and then we graduated to Adobe Audition, which I'm still loyally using today for anything audio, and actually recorded tons and tons of songs, not really exactly knowing what I was doing within Adobe Audition. And I think the coolest part about that is I still have all of those songs. And sometimes I go back and listen to them, even to the early J&L stuff that I did with Nick on the little Hewlett Packard, to the DNR Dell. Like, yeah, you know, it's kind of just amazing to me that we were able to do all that just by ourselves. And sometimes it's just go for it, just figure it out, and, you know, fail along the way.
That's the best thing you can do. Just if you want to learn something, just try to get access to the equipment or the computer. Most of the time now, you don't really need a lot of equipment to start. Just need your phone. So, yeah, that's a good nostalgia question. Acoustica.
And since we're talking about DNR, I figure this next question is a perfect tie-in. So this is from Martise.
Oh, what?
Back in Maine.
All right, this is your boy Demon Dog, a.k.a., you know, Martise, y'all brother, man. My question for you and Dave was, what was y'all favorite song that we all recorded back in the day?
Man, to pick a favorite, that's tough.
That's tough because I got to be honest, I don't think I was around probably to record it, not with Martise. Although I remember one day he did come over to the house with his mom and I think recorded something, but I couldn't tell you what song we recorded. My best memory, though, from recording with anyone was when Jeffro lived with me in California. And we did, and he was just in there all day. I was still going to school, and he was just like staying on the couch, or then eventually staying in the back house. And he would just find these beats, and he's like, "Yo, Dave, let's just record one." And it starts off with, "If you're feeling the beat, then everybody, let's go.
Let's go.
Def Jeff aside, you can call me Jeffro.
Jeffro.
It's DH. I make cake. It sound great. Designated to hit make. Check the soundscape." So I wrote most of that song. And so recording with him was cool. It was, I don't know, it was fun. And he's still doing, I'm pretty sure, music, DJing, engineering. I think he's pretty heavy in the game.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to think about because a lot of us have moved on to other things for work and for careers, but it's still kind of tied to the same type of what's the word I'm looking for? It's all in the same, under the same umbrella. It's all in the same field.
It's the same kind of work. It's recording, it's media, it's performance based, it's engineering. We all are something, you, me, Jeffro for sure, something related to making. We didn't even call it content. That's a very new word. We were let's just make a song, or let's make some videos. We didn't call them vlogs either. We just always wanted to be creating stuff.
We called them webisodes.
Dude, webisodes. Webisode 2 is my favorite one.
Well, it's the only one we ever did. But
yeah. Why did we not do number 1?
I don't know. To kind of answer Martise's question, and thanks for it a lot, dude, by the way.
So good to hear your voice, man.
I know, dude. I got to kick it with him over this past summer. He has a son. And it was just super cool, man. And we just picked right back up like we never, and that's how it's like a true friend. But I don't remember any specific songs. I just kind of remember the overall feeling of all of it. I felt like I was part of something bigger than me. And I think ever since I was a kid, that was something that I always strived for, even today as a full-grown adult, Even now that I'm older, not necessarily old, I still kind of strive to be a part of something bigger than me, And that's what I felt like during the whole DNR roster days. I felt like I was part of something that was important. I felt like I was a part of something that people were taking notice, and I felt like I was a part of something that people were genuinely enjoying, whether it was, buying our mixtapes out the trunk of the Jetta, or coming to the performances at the Galaxy, or the 3 roster concerts when no one showed. It's just putting in that groundwork and paying your dues. And yeah, I just remember the whole thing and just how great it made me feel. But side story about Martise, and he knows what I'm about to say. When we started working with this guy, Eric Doms, I think he had graduated high school by the time we were working with him. We had formed the roster, and we were recording everything ourselves. And it was, as you would expect, it wasn't very great quality. But the group, we linked up with him, and he had like a pretty legit setup, So we would go in there, and we recorded this one song. And Martise, I'm sorry, but it was called Slow Riding, right? Slow riding in that Coupe de Ville, something like that, right? And in the very beginning, he decided to put this weird effect on Martise's voice, and we still bust his balls about it to this day, because the opening of the song, it goes, excuse me, slow riding. So it sounds like the impression that we always do of Trips. Like,
I was just going to say.
Put another quarter on the washing machine, baby. It's Trips, baby.
Yeah.
And it sounded just like that. And we always bust on Martise about it. And he was always like, why'd you have to do that to my voice? And I just remember the friendship and camaraderie. And, those are some times that I would never trade in for anything. So that's what I remember most about those days,
It was cool for me to be associated with everyone. I just felt like I was part of the coolest group of artists. In my opinion, I still believe that in our area. I wasn't anybody else in a group setting doing it like all of us were, and
collectively.
And then I also felt like, okay, now when I go out, I got this whole entourage. I'm good. I don't have to worry about anything because I got like mad people got my back.
We rolled super deep.
Everywhere.
And I think I remember putting it in like multiple songs. It was like, we're there's like 10 inside, but we got like 20 more outside. Like that was just how we rolled back then. It was the Wild West, man. It was it was a time that I wouldn't trade for anything. And this is making me now think of that question that we just got from Nikki in Ireland about what moment would I want to relive. Now that's obviously an accumulation of moments,
right? But that
if I could stretch it a bit, it would be relive those DNR days. Just now that I'm thinking about it, that's absolutely what it would be.
All right, and if I had to pick a DNR moment, it would be when we released the mixtape, or we had the release party at the Galaxy. There's photos of it.
Yeah.
But I remember thinking, like, this is so cool that a mixtape that I'm in the album art that I produced a song on. I'm just like, yo, I think for me, that was like the tops, because I never really chased wanting to produce music like that. I just thought, cool, I did it. And I did it with my friends.
Yeah. That's the coolest part, man. Like, we did this, it wasn't just one person. We were all wearing several different hats and just
love hats, by the way. Big fan of hats.
Yeah. Just working together to like, just try to make something bigger than us, going back to my point. That's
DNR, baby.
Yeah.
I mess with you white boys.
I mess with you white boys. I mess with y'all. I love it. All right, let's move on, because we could talk about DNR all day. That's a whole different episode. This one comes from Christina down in Kentucky.
Hey JR, hey Dave. I hope you all had a great weekend. My question is, if you could go back and give your 18-year-old self one piece of advice, what would it be and why?
Go back and give your 18-year-old self some advice. What would it be and why?
Invest in Apple and Amazon. Because I want to make bank, bro. Easy. That's my answer.
That's a great one, man. Gosh. It's so tough, man, because you can go silly with an answer, you can go deep with an answer. Like there's so many possibilities with this. But honestly, I would just go back and tell 18-year-old me, it's going to be all right, man. You're going to figure it out. And even in those moments when you feel like the entire weight of the world is on top of you and you have to make a choice and you have to, this next project has to hit or this next song has to explode, I would just tell Tell them everything's going to be fine.
Yeah, it's
You're
going to be
gonna
fine.
figure it out.
Yeah.
Don't put so much damn pressure on yourself all the time.
Yeah, because Dave invested in Apple and we're going to be rich. So just don't even worry about it.
Yeah, we're fine. Everything is fine. But yeah, I think there's, something to be said about that, where I remember just being that age and like, God, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? And there's so many. I don't exactly. You don't know, but society wants you to like have it all figured out by then. You graduate. It's like, are you going to college, or are you starting a career already, or are you working a bull crap job? I worked tons of them, And then I would also say your passions are going to mutate and change and evolve over time.
Yeah, just like your taste buds change.
I put so much pressure on myself at first. It has to be rap or bust, right? And then it's like, well, I love DJing and I love radio and I love podcasting now and I love vlogging and get your hands on everything, which is the approach I eventually, light bulb moment in my own head. But I'd say everything's going to be fine.
And invest in Apple.
Invest in Amazon, invest in Apple. All right, moving on. Our next one is Anonymous.
Okay, cool.
How do you feel about kids, and do you want them?
Coming strong with that one.
Well, the show just took a turn. I'm gonna toss that one up to you first, brother.
All right. Well, I love kids. Kids are great. I especially love hanging out with my brother's kids. And I'm open to it. I think I'm open to it. I'm a guy. I think it's easy for us because I know my dad was 45 when I was born, so I'm only 36. Technically, I have like 9 more years.
Wow.
I don't think I'm going to wait that long, but it really depends on, I got to find the right partner. You got to find the right life partner. I need to find the right woman.
Yeah.
That's the most important. And then it's a conversation, but it's something that I'm open to and ultimately I want.
This is kind of the question you get once you check off all those initial boxes like we were talking about at the beginning of the show.
Just a box checker, I guess.
I guess so. And yeah, I do for sure. I just look at our pal Corey and the family that he has now with his son and daughter and his wife and their home out in Freeport. And I'm like, that would be really cool. The tough part about it is I can't have my career back there right now,
Timing.
So it's all about timing, and I have a woman in my life now that I'd love to do those things with. She's expressed to me that she'd love to do those things with me. She actually wore me down on it, Yeah. And I finally was like, I'm in a position now where I could financially do that. I remember a previous relationship that I was in, there was pressure for that. I want to have a baby. And I'm like, well, you're a bartender and I'm DJing at bars. Like, we're not making nearly enough money to be able to do this. And now I'm at a point where it's like, okay, I could feasibly do that. So yeah, I think when the timing is right, I'm certainly open to it.
All right. I guess that wasn't so hard for us to answer. We've really matured, my friend.
Haven't we though? Let's go.
I think we have. We like being kids, but we've matured.
Yeah. All right, here's our next one from my buddy Chris down in Nashville, where you just were last week or so. Yeah.
What up, homies? It's Chris Britton from Nashville, Tennessee. I was wanting to know, y'all have been friends for so long through different time zones, sometimes, area codes, whatever. How hard is it for y'all to keep up that friendship and be able to just consistently talk to each other, before the podcast or whatever? How hard is it for you guys to keep that relationship over, these decades of friendship over time?
About 25 years, right?
A quarter century, bub.
That's just crazy. And, I've never really given that any thought. Dave and I, over the years, it's kind of, for a certain amount of time, we're really in. And we're really, talking all the time, or we're working together. And then there's times where he's off doing what he's doing and I'm off trying to build what I'm trying to build. But it's like anytime we ever come back together and connect, it's like no time has ever passed. So I think that's why it's been a 25-year friendship, because it hasn't been difficult.
It's at this point you become family, and it's not that you take the person for granted, but you have so much confidence. Oh, they're going to be right there. I could call him out of the blue after months of not talking, and you would never know it. You would think we talked yesterday.
Yeah.
To me, that's the mark of a best friendship. That's just kind of like, I don't know. It's never been hard. I've never given it thought either. I just was always like, oh yeah, he'll pick up, or if he's busy, he'll hit me back. You just have the confidence in the other person when you're on the same wave. I have that with a couple other people, but when you have, I think, friends that are more acquaintances, or you're putting in more effort than the other person, then it feels like, why is this so hard? And when you look in the mirror, it's not that you're not a good friend or the other person's not a good person. It's just, all right, you just don't quite have that chemistry, and that's fine. Just keep it moving.
I think the hardest thing with our friendship, and it's not even like a tough, like an actual life tough thing. We're instead of me calling you or you just FaceTiming me once I get home from work and just, you're not going to believe what happened to me today. It's all of that waits until Sunday. So some of it we'll forget, some of it I can jot down, some of it I'll recall. But I think that's been one of the toughest things. And here we are, 15 consecutive weeks of that.
Yep.
But I think it makes for a more entertaining podcast. I think the conversations that we could be having just throughout the week, just for ourselves, it's like, oh, no, wait. Because even earlier today, it's like, you're not going to, I'm like, hold on, man, hold on.
And it's
so many times.
It's a focused conversation. I mean, we still will talk during the week, but if a lot of time has passed and we know there's stuff to catch up on, like by Wednesday, we almost like intentionally don't call each other.
Yep.
So we're like, well, okay, it's Wednesday, like hump day, like, all right, let me just make sure I got my stories down. Might send some voice messages back and forth, but we do it for the show.
Do it for the vine. All right. Thank you, Chris. Let me just say first things first. Chris and his wife, Natasha, two of the only friends that I really had in Nashville.
Roll Tide.
And they're just great people, super caring people. And we don't talk all the time, but it's one of those they're those type of folks where I'll always appreciate how kind they were to me during my time in Nashville, just welcoming me in their home, introducing me to their friends, coming out to my gigs to support me, listening to my radio show, like great people. So thanks a lot for the question, Chris.
Excellent question.
Let's see here. Our next one comes from my buddy out here, Mile High Mike.
Yo, what's up, JR? Just curious, when it comes to your collection, is it something that you like to display, or is it something that you keep put away?
Is it a secret? A guilty pleasure?
Yeah. Or are you open and honest about it? It's a little bit of both.
It is
honestly.
it's a little bit of both.
Yeah. And, lately I've been really just about, okay, well, this makes me happy, so screw it. I've been putting more things out on display. Like I got a little cowboy shelf going right now. I have a little, WWE New Generation era display going on right now.
I got museum going on.
Yeah, and it's just different parts of the like. I don't have a ton of room, so I'm trying to get rid of a lot of stuff. But new things that I come into contact with, like with Mike here, I've been going to a bunch of vintage shops with him, retro shows, conventions, and just trying to find a lot of cool stuff. A lot of it is just way too expensive, and it's kind of pushing me out of the hobby.
Right.
And I'm more of like, let me get out there and find it in the wild. I don't want to pre-order it on Amazon.
Yeah, like garage sale, or somebody's like, I got a bin of these things. I don't know what they're worth.
Where you come across somebody that might necessarily not know what they have, and they're in a position like me where they're trying to get rid of certain things. They're like, yeah, that's fine, sure. So, I've been slowly putting more of my stuff on display because I can get pretty down being out here alone and doing these things with him, and then coming back like, okay, let me set this up here, let me set that up here. And the nerd in me is like, why don't I make like a action figure photography Instagram account? That could be fun. It's
Honestly, it might pop. There's
You never
so many
know.
things I think that we both want to do. It's just, where's the time? So
right,
it becomes a hobby because you say, yeah, I have a couple hours on a weekend to go explore this, kind of like scratch this itch. I get that. Yeah.
Yep. It's not that I'm like an avid collector. I find joy in the hunt and trying to find like just yesterday we went back and visited this spot called Out the Box, which is this like vintage shop in Thornton, Colorado. And I only picked up one thing, but it was like this old WWF Hasbro Warlord action figure. And I'm like, well, this is kind of cool. I'm going to take that with me rather than the, $200 in-box thing.
Yeah.
And speaking of box, that's a thing now too, where I've had just so many things just sitting in boxes that are just taking up space in my
Box in a
apartment,
box
which is
in
a
a box.
box. Yeah. So I'm like, let me cut these some just open and let me put some of these out. And I don't know. I'll probably hide them all when my girl comes to visit next week. We'll see.
Yeah, you better put a bolt on that closet there, buddy boy.
Yeah, you're not kidding. All right, let's keep going here. Our next one is anonymous.
Are you vegetarian?
No.
I thought you were American.
I thought you were American. I'm not vegetarian. I've never tried to be vegetarian. All things in moderation. But I love me a good steak and some bacon.
Absolutely, dude. I'm like a steak and potatoes kind of dude. So, yeah, I don't know if I could do it.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, if you do that, cool. I don't know. My body's just like, hey, bro, let's have some steak.
Yeah, I mean, to each their own, whatever your, diet is. But yeah, I could never be a vegetarian. I thought you were American. Okay.
Yeah, I'm American.
Sorry.
So
that's only
that's
funny
a vine.
to us.
It's only
Yeah.
funny to viners.
Our next one comes from my girl Anne in Maine. I love how we're getting so much like listeners in Maine. This is awesome, dude.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Here we go.
Okay, so I love Adam Sandler movies or anything Happy Madison, and my favorite movie of all time is The Wedding Singer. So I want to know, what are you and Dave's favorite Adam Sandler or Happy Madison movies?
Oh, great question.
What's your go-to?
Happy Gilmore is the go-to.
Yeah.
Happy
Mine-
Gilmore, Billy Madison, Wedding Singer.
I was going to say Wedding Singer for me. I just think that's his best film. It's so funny. It's just the characters are so over the top. It's like that's the kind of movie that you can watch anytime and always laugh every single time and always get invested in the characters. And plus, my girlfriend's name is Julia, so I love calling her Julia Gulia.
Good thing your last name's not Gulia. Your name's going to be Julia
Gulia?
I like Steve Buscemi's character. He's like, best guitar player in the world. Self-taught.
Oh, yeah.
No thanks to you,
So
Dad.
good. Yeah. Is it the same guy in Wedding Singer that's like, he's losing his mind?
No, it's a different guy.
And I'm reaping all the benefits. That character
John
was great
Lovitz.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's
So
like, well,
good.
you've inspired me to hire a DJ. But at the end, the Steve Buscemi drunk best man character ends up being the wedding singer at Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore's wedding. So it's full circle.
It's perfect. Yeah. There's so many great ones. And yeah, Wedding Singer would be my favorite. A lot of his recent stuff has been really good too. I just watched Murder Mystery 2 on Netflix with him
And you liked
Aniston. Super funny. First one, super funny. Those two together, it's just great. And for the record, I have a Jennifer Aniston DVD collection. So I have a lot of her
pop
movies.
crush, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
God,
I mean,
man.
hey, nothing to be embarrassed about. I wish I had your collection.
Yeah, it's just kind of. I had somebody like say, "Why do you have this stuff? Like you can just stream all of this." And I was like, "Yeah, you could, but what if your internet's down?"
Or what if you don't want to pay for those streaming platforms?
Yeah, they're like, "Well, you could save so much money." It's like, no, you can't, Because I'm not going to sign up for Netflix, for Hulu, for Disney Plus, for Amazon Prime, for
Spread
HBO
'em
Max,
all
for
out.
Peacock. I know. It's just like, and then there's the whole streaming wars debate, and nobody's ever going to win that. But
No.
yeah, man, even if like my wrestling DVD collection, they don't even make them anymore. So it's like, do I necessarily need
Out of
them? No.
print.
Yeah. Do I ever actually bust them out and watch them? Very, very seldomly.
Oh, I was
but-
gonna say you bust them out when your girlfriend comes by. Hey, look at my collection. Isn't this why you wanted to come over?
Let me tell you about Degeneration X. So back in she's just like, stop.
All right, let's just stop.
Yeah, I just don't care. But yeah, great question, Ann, and thank you so much for it. We got a couple of more here, and let's see. Let me go back. And our next one, actually, I think we just have one left here, Dave.
All right. Q&A
And this
lightning
one-
round.
Yeah, this one is from Garrett on Instagram.
How do you deal with loss? I just lost my father a few days ago, and the funeral was yesterday, and I don't know, I'm having like flashbacks, of all the times that we had, but I tend to take the high road now and just finish positively every day as much as I can.
Can I real quick before we even dive into that's a tough one. For somebody to be literally right in like the midst of that. This just happened to Garrett, and for him to like present that question to us, like that's kind of a brave thing to do. So just like hats off to him for that. Secondly, how do I deal with loss? I typically try not to.
Honest
I feel
answer.
like Yeah, I feel like I often, like when my Nana and Papa passed away, my Nana Barbara as well, a few years before them, it was like I kind of had to be the tough one, the strong one for my family to kind of keep them together, you know? So I don't know that I ever even mourned really, like in a healthy way. I think it was more, nope, I got to be here. I got to be present. I got to be strong. I got to hold my family together because I'm the only one that can do that. So yeah, I think I try not to, and I think sometimes about, fortunately my parents are really young. But I still think about it sometimes, like what's life going to be like without mom around? And dude, it makes me miserable to even think about. So I try not to. And again, to deal with loss, I try not to, like this past year, you remember my ex and her dogs. Mm-hmm. Ralphie had passed away, a dog that I picked out, and he was my best friend, the Ralph Mouth. He was the mouth of the South. Because boy, was he loud. But yeah, that hit me like a ton of bricks, dude. I got that call, and man, it sucks. It really, really sucks. But for the most part, I try not to, which I don't think is the healthiest thing. So don't take what I do into practice.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, neither of us have the experience of losing a parent. I don't know what that's like. We're kind of just like Jeff, like you said, prepping for that's going to come someday. I don't know what I'm going to do or how I'm going to act. So I don't think any of us know. But when I lost my best friend JC about 11 years ago, me and some buddies got tattoos. So we all have the same tattoo. Just has his name on there, Captain JC Smith. He was the first mate. And that was, I think, a really good thing going through the pain of my first tattoo. I thought it would be like sad to look down at, but now it's actually a very happy thought because I just think of, like he was saying, all the memories are rushing and flashing. So when I take a moment to look down at the tattoo and read his name, I think of all the good things that have happened. And to go back to the Last Dance documentary again, because any chance I get, I'm going to insert it into the conversation.
I swear you work for Netflix or something.
I would, hey, holler at me. I'm available. I used, I really like the line that his mom said, which was, we have to look at this in a positive way. When Michael Jordan's dad was tragically murdered, his mom said, you have to be grateful for the time that you had with him. and be like, some people don't get any time with their parent, and you had all these years, and he got to see you win championships at the highest level. Yeah. And so that Michael Jordan just took it as a positive. Didn't make it any easier. Then you see him when he comes back. They win their first championship when he's back, and he's like crying because first time his dad doesn't get to see him. He's not celebrating with him. And so I think that was just like easier said than done, but think of all the positive things that you did get, that you were privileged enough, and of course grateful enough to have, and say, it's a part of life that nobody wants to face. None of us want to face the fact that our loved ones are all going to pass away at some point. And so are we. It's existential, right? Like, you don't want to think about that all the time, but it's a reality. So we're not here to give the real professional advice, but since you asked, like, I feel like I feel like we both gave very honest answers. Like, I'm like you too. I don't want to deal with it. I try not to. And then eventually, when I'm done with that being silly, then I deal with it.
Yeah, I remember I was in the middle of my broadcast in Nashville, and Mom said that Nana had some news for me. I was like, okay, well, tell her to call the show. It'd be great. I love to talk to her. And she calls me from the hospital and tells me that she has lung cancer. And I'm on the air, and I have a break in like 3 minutes. And she's like telling me this, and if my flash drive isn't corrupted, I still have this call.
Wow.
Yeah. And she breaks the news to me, because I was her first grandson, first grandkid. Yeah. So I'm always the favorite. So everybody else, suck it.
It's me.
It's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. And tells me, and we got off the phone. I just immediately started crying, and I had to snap it all together real quick and do this break. And then immediately when the mic turned off, I'm just crying again. And I wanted to leave work that night, but I powered through the rest of the shift, and I remember I flew home to be able to see her before she passed away and surprised her. And when I think about, I'm getting the heebie-jeebies, but I surprised her, and I showed up, and I walked in the side door. And what I remember now when I think about Nana is that look, like that day.
The surprise look.
Yeah. And so as much as I don't deal with it, it's when I think about it, I think about that specifically, not like stuff from when I was young or I think about that and how genuinely surprised she was and how happy she was, and I always think about that. And sometimes being here alone, I'll just like out loud ask her if she's proud of me, as weird as that might sound to some people. And but yeah, that's maybe I'm dealing with it right now. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
I think every time
it's got me all fucked up right now.
Every time you think about a moment, I think the dealing with it is life forever. You're always dealing with it. There is no such thing as I dealt with it, I moved on. Like, you move on, but you also keep dealing with these things.
Right.
You can't stay still because they're going to be with you. You move one step, they move one step.
Yeah.
And I don't know if time necessarily heals all. I don't know if that's a good saying anymore, but I think, of course, you need time to get distance from the thing.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So.
It's tough. It's tough. Deal with it. Yeah. Don't deal with it. I think the important thing is that inherently we're all important and we all need to continue living life. And I know that your dad would want you to keep doing whatever it is you do that makes you happy. That's what my dad has told me many times.
Yeah. Man, I wish we had like a follow-up question to kind of put this on like a lighter mood.
But we keep it real, and I think that's a good way to. It's a great way to end it. I mean, you even honored your father by leaving us a message just to talk about it. Like, it's kind of cool. You get to be part of somebody's legacy without even knowing it, continuing on their memory.
Yeah, and this is one of the driving factors about me inevitably wanting to end up back home like you just have.
Right.
It's because those moments, those times, those gatherings, they're just so precious, and you never know when it's going to be the last one because that's the way the world works, and it sucks, but we have no control over that. So that's definitely one of the driving factors of me ultimately wanting to get back home, to be around the people that I care about most, because I've already missed out on 6 years or so. But yeah, anyhow, enough from this babbling brook, as Dan Cook would say.
A great Q&A. That was an epic Q&A.
Yeah, that kind of had a little bit of everything.
I didn't expect that one at the end. That was good.
Yeah, no, gosh, me neither. But anyhow, please like, comment, and subscribe. These last couple of podcasts have been our most viewed, our most listened to, and thank you so much. 15 deep. No signs of slowing down, dude. This has been so much fun for me.
Keep on trucking,
rolling, baby.
You know what time it is.
So, for Dave, my name is JR. This has been Hanging with Homie, and we'll catch you next week. Remember, it's cool to be you. Peace.